So in today's knee series video, we're going to be focusing on the rotation of our body. And we have rotation from head to toe. We have rotation in our cervical spine, the neck. We have rotation in our thoracic spine at the rib cage. We have rotation in our lumbar spine, rotation within our pelvis, right, within the hip sockets, rotation within the knee joints, rotation within the ankle joints, all the way down to our toes. So it's very important that we are able to, and we are able to understand how to tap into all the different rotators of our body to stay healthy and mobile. And so, like I said, rotation affects us from head to toe, but we're going to stay concentrated on the knees today and how that rotation affects our knee joints. So to begin, I just want to do actually something with the shoulders just to help you understand the importance of rotation within our joints. So we know that we have lots of range of motion in our arms and in our shoulders, right? If you put your arms down by your sides, we can elevate the shoulders, we can depress the shoulders, we can open our arms out, abduction, we can pull our arms back in, adduction, you don't need to remember the technical terms. We can round our shoulders forward, protraction, we can pull our shoulders back, retraction, right? We also have a nice circumduction, we can circle the arms, circle the shoulders, and you can feel your shoulder blades just kind of moving around with your arms, almost as if your shoulder blades were slippery bars of soap on your ribs, just kind of circling around, right? Just do that one more time and just feel that rotation. Now, just a little practice here. Let's roll your shoulders forward and round through your spine. So we're kind of in a bad position. We're not neutral anymore, right? We're kind of slouched. And now with your shoulders rolled forward, let's just pick one arm. You don't have to do both arms, but keep your shoulders rolled forward. Keep the slouch position in your spine. Try to lift your arm up and see how far it goes, right? Eventually it's going to get stuck, okay? And then lower it down. Keep the shoulders rolled forward. Maybe try this time to do an arm circle and see where it's at, right? And maybe you feel a little pinching. Maybe it feels uncomfortable. There's a good reason for that. We're not in correct alignment. And now go ahead and stack yourself up as tall as you can. Roll your shoulders up, back, and down. Keep your chest open. Find your neutral. Glide those shoulders down your back. Now just lift that same arm up and see how far you can go. Feel how much easier that is, the range of motion you have, the ability to move, right? And then go into a circle. So why I'm talking about the shoulders is because your shoulder joint is very similar to your hip joint, okay? Your hip joint has the same ability. So if we were standing, you would be able, just like your arm, right? You would be able to go forward with your leg, backwards with your leg, to the side, pulling it back in, just as we did with the arm, right? Very similar. We're also able to do a circle with the leg, circumduction, right? And also able to externally rotate and internally rotate the leg, just like our arm. We can externally rotate and internally rotate. And just try that with your body and notice how similar those two joints are. And so I just wanted to bring you to the shoulder because sometimes we're more able to understand the shoulder girdle than we are the pelvic girdle, right? And just know that they're very similar. And we're going to be working on the pelvic girdle today and working on the rotation down here because it ultimately affects our knee joints. So let's go ahead and lie all the way down on our mats, and you're going to be on your side. I'm going to be on my right side. You can choose whichever side you want to be on. And then lie down so that your head is just resting comfortably on your bottom arm. If you have a shoulder injury, put a pillow underneath your head and just bring your arm in front of you. That will feel a lot better than lifting your arm up overhead. Now from here, stack hip on top of hip, shoulder on top of shoulder, and feel the rim of your rib cage in line with the rim of your pelvis. We don't want to jet the ribs out, and we don't want to round the spine either. So how can you find your best neutral here on your side? Put your top hand on your hip, press that hip away. We're going to start with external rotation of the thigh bone. So just simply open that top knee up and hold. Now notice what your top hip did. We don't want it to roll back, right? We want it to stay stacked on top of your bottom hip. Lower that knee down. So to truly feel that rotation inside of your hip socket, I want you to think of your thigh bone as twisting back behind you, like it's twisting in your hip, just like you would if you were screwing in a light bulb, right? Your pelvis, your top hip, imagine as if it's going to twist forward. Okay, it's not going to move. I don't want you to move it per se, but I want you to keep it still. And in order to keep it still, you want to imagine as if that top hip is rolling forward as the thigh is rolling back. So if you were wringing out a wet washcloth, that's at your hip socket, right? So truly feel that rotation in that thigh bone. And now take your top hand and put it right at your underwear line, right in the back, right where your swimsuit or underwear line would be. And now tell yourself to turn on those muscles, right? Because we can cheat and use other muscles here. And if we are cheating, not truly using your rotators, it's going to feel more like a hinge, like a door opening and closing, versus an actual twisting rotation inside of your hip socket. So with your hand, just right at your swimsuit line, can you engage that muscle to open and twist the leg? Let's do a couple more. Exhaling to open, keeping your nice posture alignment, right? Inhale to lower. 2 more times. Exhale, open, and when you get up at that top, twist a little bit deeper into it from the hip socket, not from the knee. So we're not just pushing the knee back in space. You're twisting deep inside that hip socket, and then release. Let's do 1 more and hold. So open it out, twist, and just hold here. Keep that engagement. Check in. Did you lose that muscle? Are you able to isometrically hold it? Okay? And just stay there for 10. Keep engaging, keep twisting for 9. 8. Lift that bottom waistline, hip on top of hip, just going through the body, right? Shoulder on top of shoulder. We're here for 3. Relaxing the neck, relaxing the jaw for 2. And 1. Now come down just 1 inch with the leg and then twist it back up for 10. Down just 1 inch and twist it back up for 9. Down an inch, twist it back up for 8. Down an inch, twist it back up 7. Make it come from the hip socket. Get that twist. Exhaling to twist for 5. Deep inside the hip for 4. Remember, the top hip is staying stacked. Be nice and light with that top hip. We're not letting it sink back behind us, right? Last 2. And last 1, and lower it all the way down. So you should have felt the back side of your hip, the external hip rotator. And with that, it affects your knee, right? So if we're twisting the thigh bone, the knee should go along for the ride. It should be in the same turning out position. So let's straighten the leg. We're still going to work that rotator, the external rotator. I know you're probably feeling it right now, but we're going to work it a little bit more with the straight leg. Press that top hip away. Notice how your knee joint is in line with your second toe, or I should say your kneecap is in line with your second toe. Can you keep that? Okay, keep it in line with the second toe. We're going to twist the thigh bone out. Now your toes are facing the sky. Is your knee facing the sky? So did you keep your kneecap in line with your second toe? Where's your hip? Make sure it didn't roll back, right? Lots to think about. And now twist it back to parallel. Do that again. Twist it out. We have a straight leg and twist it back in. And just check in with your alignment every so often to make sure that your kneecap truly is in line with that second toe. Twisting out. We're twisting at the thigh bone in the hip. Twisting out and back in. Let's twist out for 5 and back into parallel. Twist out for 4, back into parallel. Check with that top hip. Don't roll it back for 3. You can also do this up against a wall so that you can't roll your hip back, right? It's kind of a little stopper. Last one, hold. Hold that turn out. Now look at the knee. Make sure it's in line with the second toe, hip on top of hip. Are you able to lift the whole leg up 1 inch and down an inch? Lift up an inch, down an inch. Now we're getting into it, right? So can you keep your turn out as you're lifting up for 8? Lift up 7, lift up 6, lift up 5, last 4, lift up 3, up 2, up, hold, stay there, just look down, make sure you're in that turned out position, hip on top of hip, turn it back to parallel, last little set of lifts, lift up 10, lift up 9, lift up 8, staying parallel 7, 6, 5, reach out of that leg, lift that bottom waistline, 3, 2, and 1. Rest it all the way down, bend your knee. Good, and rest. Now we're going to get into internal rotation. I'm not sure if my little dog Hank was in the camera or not, but he's just checking us out. We're going to get into internal rotation. So what I'm going to have you do is lift your top leg just hip height. Right? You're still going to stay bent, just like how we started in the beginning. Lift your bottom waistline, push that top hip away. Now, can you lift your foot higher and twist your knee to look down at your bottom leg, or twist it to look down at the floor, and then just come back to parallel? Okay, do that again. Twist. Your knee doesn't have to touch the other knee, but it's just going to look down at it, and then you come back to parallel. So we're getting into that internal rotation, right? That internal rotator of your hip. Now, when you twist, feel that inside of your hip socket. You might feel that external rotator stretching. So you might still feel it back there, what you just worked, but think of it as a stretch, right? And now make sure that this top hip doesn't fall inward. It's staying stacked right on top of your bottom hip. Twisting up for 10 and down, just a parallel. Twist up for 9, come just a parallel. Twist up for 8. Make sure that you're actually twisting and not just lifting, right? twisting for 7 and parallel. Twist the thigh bone like you're screwing in a light bulb and parallel. Twist for 5 and parallel. Last 4, twist it 3, twist it 2, last 1. Now hold. Tiny pulse with control. It's not a bounce, it's a twist deeper. Twist deeper, just a little itty bitty twist, right? Inside of that hip socket, no bouncing, just a little deeper with that internal rotator. Twist 8, twist 7, twist 6, last 5, 4, 3, 2, hold it on 1, hold 10, find that form, 9, 8, 7, dig in there, dig into that hip, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Rest everything down. You're still feeling deep inside that hip socket. We're going to do one more with the leg straight. So straighten that leg out. Turn the thigh bone in, so internally rotated. Your knee is in line with your second toe. Your heel is up to the sky. You can flex or point, whichever you prefer. And you're going to lift up and down, lift up and down, little ups. Keep your internal rotation. Yes, you are feeling it inside of that hip. We have 10. Lift up 9. Lift up 8, lift up 7. It's not coming from the foot, it's coming from your thigh bone. Keep it twisted for 5, up for 4, up for 3, lift that bottom waistline 2, lift and hold on 1. Stay there and just look down. Make sure you're still internally rotated with your knee and with your second toe facing the same direction. Hold 10. Keep reaching out of that hip for 9. Push that hip away. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Rest everything down. Nice job. So internal and external rotation at the hip, really important. Let's just move it on to the other side. All over on the other side. All right, so lie all the way down and bent knees, hips stacked on top of hips, shoulder on top of shoulder. And you are just going to place your head down in your bottom arm. Push your top hip away. Let's start with external rotation, opening the knee up and back down. And again, twisting up and back down. So again, think of your thigh bone twisting externally back behind you, but your hip bone is twisting internally, okay? Your hip isn't going to move, but that's just the thought I want you to think of, right? So that you can keep your hip nice and still. You're wringing out that wet washcloth right inside of your hip socket, twisting out and in. And you're going to twist as far as you can without moving your hip. So maybe hold it there just for a split second at the top so you truly get that full range of motion. And if you put your right hand or your top hand on your swimsuit line or underwear line, you should feel that muscle pulling that thigh bone in that externally rotated position, right? And just feel this in your own body. Because when we come to standing, if we're in a bar class or whatever, you know, even if we're just going up the stairs or walking, you should be able to tap into these rotators to find your form, to find your good alignment. If you're not able to tap in the rotators standing, that's where we get, you know, in trouble as far as our kneecaps turning in or maybe our kneecaps turn out, right? And so we're going to discuss that in a bit. Let's open for 5 and down. Exhale, open for 4 and down. Exhale, open for 3. Relax your shoulders. Pull the belly in, open for 2. Last one, open and hold. Now just hold. Place your top hand at your glute or at your external rotator, right where your underwear line is. Press open a little bit more. That top hip is forward, right? Hold 10, 9, 8. Engage. Don't lose an engagement. Don't just hold it there with other muscles, right? Engage right where your hand is. 4, 3, 2, on 1, lower just 1 inch, and then engage to press it back. So even if your leg doesn't move that much, just think of engaging. I don't care if it doesn't move. Maybe it's just a hair, but engage it. That's the most important part. Can you make that muscle work for you? Maybe it doesn't have a lot further to go, right? Your range of motion, we might have to work on that. So just think of engaging, getting that muscle going. We have 8, open for 7. Use your core for support for 6. Press it back. 5. Feel that muscle engage. 4. Twist that thigh bone. 3. Twist it back. 2. Twist it back. 1 and hold. Now stay there. Keep engaging. Keep it on. And then roll all the way down. I should say let it come all the way down, not roll down. And just shake out the hips a little bit. All right, so we're still going to tap into that external rotator. Straighten the leg. So this is as if we were standing, right? We're with a straight leg. And if our knees, when we're standing, turn in, all the time, or maybe they turn out. Can you change that position by using your hip rotators, by twisting the thigh to get your knee in the right position? It's a lot harder standing than it is here. So press your top hip away, and now let's just turn it out and then turn it in, the thigh bone. Twist it out and twist it in. Can you twist it out without letting the top hip roll back? So it's differentiation between the thigh bone and your pelvis. Maybe you've been stuck for so many years that when you twist the thigh bone back, your whole hip rolls back. Well, so that means that you don't have differentiation between your thigh bone and your hip, and something has to move somewhere, right? So most likely what's moving is your lumbar spine because you're letting the hip fall back, okay? So try to keep your hips stacked and really dig into that hip socket and twist the thigh bone inside of the hip socket. Again, think of that analogy of screwing the light bulb into the socket, okay? Let's twist back for 5 and parallel. Twist back 4 and parallel. Twist back 3. Exhale, twist 2. And now just twist and hold. Look down and just check in. Make sure that your hips are stacked. Your knee is in line with your second toe. Everything's turned out from the thigh bone down, right? And just hold 10, 9. Press that leg away. Push that hip away. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Hold on 1. Now lift it up an inch, down an inch, up an inch. So now we're starting to move the leg. Can you stay in your turned out position while you move up and down? It's very subtle, very small. Right? Let's lift up 10. Check in every so often. Make sure that you're still turned out, hip on top of hip. Lift up 8. Lift up 7. Keep that turn out. 6. Maybe turn out a little bit deeper as you lift for 5. Push that top hip away. Don't let it sink. Last 3. Up for 2. Up for 1 and rest. Bend the knee, place it down. Feel that hip joint, feel the external rotators, shake out the shoulders, shake out the hips. We're going to go into internal rotation. So lift that top knee hip height. Both knees are bent. You're starting in parallel. Twist it in. So the foot is twisting up, the knee is twisting down. You're twisting the thigh bone and then come back just to parallel. And do that again. Twist up and down. Hip on top of hip. Twist the foot up and down. Twist up. So we're not lifting or lowering the thigh. We're not lifting or lowering, right? That's different. That's inner and outer thigh. We're twisting, staying with our leg, our thigh bone, parallel to the ground the entire time, just staying hip height. We're getting that internal rotation and then back to parallel. Let's do 10 and parallel. Twisting up 9. Now feel the belly pull in as you twist, like that's going to support you, right? Twist up 7, shoulder down, neck is long. Twist up 6. Feel that deep inside the hip socket. 5. Twist up 4. Twist up 3. Last 2. Last 1 and just hold. Hold that twist. Dig a little deeper. Make sure that that top hip didn't sink in. Press it away. Holding there. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, melt the chest, knit the ribs. 4, 3, 2, hold on 1. You're going to twist it a little bit deeper and then release. Twist it an inch deeper and then release. So when we release, we're not coming all the way back to parallel, right? We're just releasing a hair. It's just a very small release of the muscle. Twist into it and then release. Hip stay still, twist. Exhale, twist 8. Dig into that hip socket, twist 7. Keep the knee bent, twist 6. Thigh bone, twist 5. Twist 4, no bouncing, engage it. Twist 3, twist 2, and last 1. Rest everything down. We're going to do one last set of a straight leg in internal rotation. So stretch your leg straight underneath you. It's not behind you. It's not forward. It's straight underneath your sit bone. Turn everything in. If you want to flex your foot, you can. Sometimes that's easier. Twist the thigh bone in. The knee is twisted in. The toes are twisted in. The heel is lifting up. Push away like somebody's pulling on your ankle. Now from there, you're going to lift up an inch, down an inch, up an inch, down an inch, lift up. As you lift up, pull the bottom waistline up. Lift up, stay in that twist. We have 10, lift up 9, lift up 8, up for 7. Don't let the pelvis move. It's not shrinking into your ribs. You're staying long and lean in the body. You're reaching through that heel. Try to stretch to the wall beneath you, right? Like you're sliding your heel up and down that wall. Good. Lift up 3, lift up 2. Lift up and hold on one. Twist a little deeper, hold it there. Look down your body, make sure that your knee is in line with your second toe. You're truly internally rotated. We're holding, press your heel away. We have 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Rest everything down. Nice job. Go ahead and sit yourself all the way up. So that should have explained to you how we have that rotation in our hip joints. If, like I said earlier, if you're locked between your thigh bones and your pelvis and you don't have that ability to move the thigh bone independently of the pelvis, of the hips, then you're going to be moving from your back, right? And so even when you walk and when you're going up and down stairs or in your classes, lifting stuff, you're moving from your back rather than truly inside of your hip rotators, which could cause a lot of tension, okay, especially in that low back. So moving down to our knees, and in an earlier video on the feet, I explained how we have a slight bit of rotation in our knee joint, okay? And so remember when I had you put a sock over both big toes in the previous video and your legs were staying parallel and you were sliding your foot out and in. So if you want to grab that sock, you can, but just for time's sake, we're just going to quickly either sit on a chair or sit on a chair so your feet can be down. And your knees are staring straight ahead, legs sit bone distance apart. Put your hands on your knees so they don't move. Your inner and outer thighs are not going to move. You're just going to twist one foot out and twist it back in. Now we did this in another video, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but I just want you to notice how you do have a slight ability to rotate at your knee joint. It's not just a hinge joint. Mostly, I mean, 99% of it is hinging, right? Out and in. Probably just heard my knee crack. But we do have a slight ability to rotate it, and I need you to know that, right? Because a lot of times, faulty alignment comes from this rotation of the knee joint. Do the other leg. Try to keep your thighs still, so the thighs aren't going to open or close. They're just going to stay parallel as you twist your foot out and twist your foot in. And you'll feel at that kneecap, you have a slight degree of rotation. Okay, so when we're standing, so go ahead and stand. I want you to look down at your feet and they're parallel, knees facing straight ahead. Some people who are bow-legged, right? Maybe their kneecaps are turning out, but their feet are still facing forward. This is very hard for me to do, but I'm going to do my best to try to describe it to you. So my toes are facing forward, but my kneecaps are facing out. So that is that degree of rotation, right, at that knee joint, because my feet are turned in, but my knees are turned out. So I'm actually getting a twist here. Right? So think of that wringing out the washcloth analogy. Your thigh bones and kneecap is going out, but your shin bones and toes are going in, okay? Vice versa, we have, obviously that's bow-legged, then we have knock-kneed, right? That's opposite. So your knees and thigh bones are twisted in, but your toes are twisted out. So again, knee and thigh twisting in internally, your shin bones are twisting out externally. And I've said this in other videos of our knee series. That's torsion, right? That's like wringing out the washcloth at your knee joint. Very unhealthy. So when we are exercising and we're balancing on one leg and we're going through our classes or even just walking, everyday normal life, just be sure that you are in full alignment with your knees in line with your second toes. And I know you're probably sick of me saying that, but it's so important. So let's go ahead and try just a couple basic bar moves, okay? So we're standing, feet sit bone distance apart, hands come to your hips. Very carefully just bend your knees, come to a small plie. Your heels are down, so you're not going to go very far, but I just want you to know where you're at in space. So look down, where are your knee joints? Are the kneecaps in line with your second toes? Did they turn in? Did one turn in? Did one turn out? Is one hip higher than the other? Just check in, just hold. Get nice and tall with your spine, upright. Good. Now from here, go down 1 more inch. Come up 1 inch. Go down 1 inch. So we're just moving through it, right? Just 1 inch, down and up. What are your feet doing? Are your arches collapsing? Are your toes clenching? What are your knees doing? Is one turning in? Are both turning in? Are they turning out? What are your hips doing, right? Are they tucking? Are you neutral? Lots to think about. Shoulders back and down. We're here for 5. Just think about your alignment here for 4. Are you more in one leg than the other? More in one heel than the other? Just think about it. 2. Last one, come down and hold. Now stay here. Pull the belly in tight and just find your form. Reach your arms out ahead of you. Turn your palms up. Soften those elbows. Get as tall as you can up against that imaginary wall. Wiggle the toes. Feel that alignment, hold that alignment, feel your muscles doing the work. Good. Hold 10, hold 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come all the way up. Arms come down. Give yourself a big shoulder roll. Now, if you want to hold on to a chair or a wall, we're going to be lifting our heels next. So if you're kind of unsure about your balance, grab something to hold on to. Hands come to your hips otherwise. If you're not going to hold the support, you're going to lift your heels up. Now what happened to your heels? Are they wiggling out and in? Just notice. Okay, did your heels turn in? Did your heels turn out? Maybe one foot did, other foot didn't. Now lower the heels back down. Can you go straight up versus forward, like you have a puppet string right at the top of your head? You're not going forward, you're going up. Engage your glutes, see how that helps. Engage the belly, that helps too. Pelvic floor, right? And then back down. Lift from your arches up. Can you lift in a straight line with your heels? They're not wobbling in, they're not wobbling out. Just practice it. Up from the arch. Don't overclinch the toes. Good. One more time. Lift up and hold. Now, where are your kneecaps? Can you feel them in space? If you need to look down, you might have to hold on to a support, right? I'm kind of feeling that right now too. But you want to make sure that your toes are forward, kneecaps facing straight forward, lift up and hold. Now from here, can you come down slowly, melt down that imaginary wall? Are you in more one leg than the other? Are your kneecaps facing forward? Where are your heels? Are they in line with your second toes? All 10 toes equal on the mat. Are you clenching the big toes? Maybe the little toes. Relax them. Float from your arches. That's your support. That talks to your pelvic floor. That talks to your low belly. We're going to go down an inch, up an inch. Again, you can hold on to a support, hold on to a wall, a chair. When you hold on with one hand, though, be sure that that doesn't put all the weight in one leg. Be equal on both legs. Where are your heels? Are they wobbling back and forth? Can you keep them elevated? We're not popped up in the ankle, just a couple inches above the floor. We're going down for 5. What are your knees doing? Going down for 4. Going down for 3. Last 2. And 1 hold. So all the work that we did on our sides on the floor, we worked into those internal and external rotators. If you need to change your alignment in any of these standing positions, can you tap into those rotators to change the alignment back to your neutral space, right? Back to your parallel, because we're here in parallel. And then go ahead and lift your legs all the way up and set your heels down, shake it out. So that was parallel. We're going to come to heels together, toes apart. So you're in a small turnout. Your kneecaps are still over your second toes or in line with your second toes. What I don't want you to be is really turned out in the ankles, but not really turned out in the thigh bones. So if you see my knees are turned out like so, but my feet are turned out really wide. So they're not following each other. Remember what I said? We have that rotation in our hips. We also have that rotation at the bottom of our knee joint, okay? So if the rotation in your hips is only, let's just say, I'm just spitting out a number, 40 degrees, but yet the rotation in your shins are 60 degrees, that's not equal. That's going to put a little bit of tension and stress on your knee joints, right? So bring those toes back in. We have a lot more range of motion in our ankles to rotate than we do in our hips. So just know that. And it's not about rotating the ankles, it's about rotating those hips, the thigh bones. So we tapped into those rotators. I want you to see if you can tap into them standing, which is a lot more of a challenge, right? So bring your hands to your hips or hold on to your support. You're going to lift your heels up, yep, and then lower the heels down. If your heels came apart, let's walk your feet in a little closer. Maybe the toes were too far apart. Do that again. Lift your heels up. Did your heels stay together? And then lower it back down. Can you zip your heels all the way up to your sit bones as you lift, right? Stay equal on all 10 toes and then lower it back down. We're just going to do that one more time. You're going to lift up, pull the low belly in, and then slowly back down. Now keep your heels down. We found that good rotation, so don't change it. Keep it there. Can you bend your knees? Our heels are down, so we're not going to get very far. Notice where your knees went. Are they in line with your second toes? If you look down and can no longer see your big toes, then you're too in. Can you see this bad position that I'm in? My thigh bones are twisting in, but my feet are twisting out. Remember we talked about that? So if you can't see your big toes, maybe you're not opened out enough, okay? If you can see all of your toes, then you're opened up too far. We're not equal. Get your kneecaps in line with your second toes. Now hold there. Pull the belly in. We're going to go down just 1 inch if you got it, and then up 1 inch, down an inch, up 1 inch. I want you to feel the hips. I want you to feel the glutes. Pull the belly in. Shoulders back, you're going down that imaginary wall and up. Wiggle the toes, we're not clinching. And can you feel these external rotators? Go down and hold. Now stay there. Hold for 10, hold for 9, 8, 7. Just engage your muscles. We're not just holding here with, the knee joints. We're holding here with our muscles. So engage. Remember that underwear line. Pull the belly in. We have 3, 2, and 1. Come up, but don't change your feet, right? Don't change your knees. Don't change anything. We're going to lift your heels, squeeze them together. Feel the back side of the body from the heels all the way to your sitting bones. Turn the thighs out. Just that little external rotation in the internal hip socket. That's what I'm trying to say. Hands come to your sides or hold on to a support. You're going to come down slowly, slowly, slowly with control. Where did your knees go? And then slowly, slowly, slowly come up. Find your balance. No clinching of the toes. Go straight down like you have a puppet string right on the top of your head. So we're not hinging forward, remember. Straight down, slowly. Can you feel the external rotators as you go down? Can you feel the external rotators as you come up? We're staying externally rotated, right? So we can't shut off the muscles. We have to keep them on, keep them working. So we're not just putting pressure in the joints, right? Use the muscles down and all the way up. We're just going to do that 3 more times. Exhale, pull the belly in tight to come down with control. Inhale all the way up. Feel the rotation. 2 more times. Slowly down. Pull the belly in. Control it. Use those muscles. The slower, the harder. 1 more time. You're going to come down and hold. Where is your form? Toes are light. Heels are together. Now turn out maybe a little bit more, just a smidget. I'll barely see it, right? You'll feel it, but you won't be seeing the wide, big, huge movement. Now from here, come down an inch, up an inch, down an inch, up an inch, getting the blood flowing, right? Now put your hands on the back of your glutes, right? Maybe just one hand. If you're holding a support, just choose one hand. And can you open as you go down? So feel that external rotation, just like we did on our sides on the floor. Can you tap into those muscles? We're just going to be here for 5 because we can do it. Come down for 4. Down an inch for 3. Keep the heels together. Down an inch for 2. Get those muscles burning. 1 more time. Hold. And then come all the way up and set your heels down. Kick it out. Nice work. Just shake out the hips. Kick out the ankles. Circle the toes. Circle the ankles. Roll the shoulders up, back, and down. Good. Now, we're going to do a little single leg work in the next video. So I want you to remember the muscles that we just tapped into here in this video with internal, external, right? I want you to remember your alignment when we had both feet down because the next video is going to be single leg. And so when we start to lift a leg, funky stuff starts to happen, and that's where we find our imbalances in our rotators. So stick with me, and I hope that you learned a lot about the rotation of your body, and there's lots more to come. So I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.